Putin calls on Ukrainian troops to surrender. Zelensky asks US to put pressure on Russia.
Captain of ship in North Sea crash charged with manslaughter.
Senate President Escudero give a statement about Senator Bato de la Rosa.
Amy Marcos seeks Senate probe in Duterte's case.
10-year-old girl found dead and suspected of rape.
Clash in Oriental Mindoro. One communist terrorist died.
Porzingis makes triumph return. Shy strikes 448 in win. Live from the Luminous Broadcasting Center. Be informed,
Inspired
and enlightened. This is Luminous Frontline, your window to the truth. Here are your anchors, Miko Isusa.
And Kimberly May de los Santos bring you the top news update this March 19, 2025.
For international news, we have Kier Samino and Rael Isidoro on the track.
President Vladimir Putin has called in Ukrainian troops in the Russian region, of course, to surrender as a diplomatic back and forth over a potential U.S. brokered ceasefire with Kyiv.
At a meeting with members of Russia's Security Council on Friday, Putin accused Ukrainian troops in the region of committing crimes against civilians, but acknowledged US President Donald Trump's wish to spare the soldiers' lives as Russian forces retake the area, and claimed surrendering soldiers' lives would be guaranteed. With Kyiv losing its grips and corks, its sole territory beginning cheap, many believe that Putin may be delaying talks on US-Ukraine ceasefire proposal until the region is back under Russian control. Earlier this week, Ukrainian officials accepted the US proposal for a 30-day ceasefire covering the entire front line after holding talks with US counterparts in Saudi Arabia. Shedding lights on the eyes of the news, this is Kier Samino reporting for the Luminous Frontline.
Thank you, Aris. On the other hand, we have Really Isidoro.
The Russian captain involved in Monday's crash with a tanker in the North Sea of the coast of England was charged with gross negligence manslaughter. The captain was arrested Monday after his ship, the Solong, rammed into the tanker Stena Immaculate, setting both vessels ablaze. The captain of the Solong vessel, Vladimir Mutin, 59 years old, of Primorsky, St. Petersburg, Russia, has been charged with gross negligence manslaughter and been remanded in police custody to appear at the Hull Magistrates Court on Saturday, Humberside police said in a statement. The tanker, which had been chartered by the U.S. military, was anchored off the coast of the Hull and northeastern England at the time of the crash.
Thank you, Raeli. Now let's know the conditions of our nation. We have Nevin Mercado and Jean Rose Manuel.
Senate President Francis Chis Escudero confirms Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa could take sanctuary in the upper chamber in case an arrest warrant is issued by the ICC, adding that he would not allow a lawmaker to be arrested within the institution's grounds. The case was disclosed by the Senate chief himself in a press conference on Monday, after being asked if he would allow De La Rosa to take sanctuary in the Senate should the International Criminal Court, or ICC, issue the warrant of arrest. In Senate President Escudero's statement,
Hindi para sa akin na pigilan si Senator Bato na magtungo dito, desisyon niya yon. Pero ang hangganan siguro noon ay hanggang makakuha at klaro na kung anong magiging pasya ng korte kaugnay sa kanyang pag-avail ng kanyang judicial remedies na karapatan niya, hindi lamang bilang senador, bilang isang ordinaryong mamamayan.
And that's all for my news. This is John Navin Mercado, bringing flash to the news from Luminous Frontline.
Now, for another national news, we have Jean Rose Manuel at standby. Jean, what is with your news?
Senate Amy Marcos, a presidential sister, is calling for an urgent Senate investigation into the arrest of former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Days after Duterte's arrest, Marcos issued statements saying that it is vital to establish whether due process was followed during the former president's arrest, given the involvement of International Criminal Police or Interpol and International Criminal Court or ICC. As chairperson of the Senate Committee on Foreign Relations, I am calling for an urgent investigation into the arrest of former President Duterte, an issue that has deeply divided the nation, said Marcos in a statement on Monday. This Jean Manuel, back to the studio.
Thank you, Jean. Now, we will be back after a minute break.
Here are ways to prevent heat stroke this summer.
Stay hydrated. Stay cool.
Drink lots of water.
Be safe.
We're back, bringing you the light of the news. It's Luminous Frontline.
For our local news, we have Paulo de Guzman and Corinne Isbiato.
Authorities found a 10-year-old girl dead in a grassy area in Barangay Tanawan Lupi, Camarines Sur, in Saturday night, March 15.
The victim was earlier reported missing while with her grandmother who was selling vegetables in Barangay Kulakling in the same town. According to the Lupi PNP, the victim had head injuries and was found with her lower clothing. In the police follow-up investigation, a 19-year-old male suspect who operates a skate or trolley and was last seen with the victim was arrested. The police added that the suspect trolley was frequently used by the victim and her grandmother to their stall.
Thank you, Paulo. Now, for the news in our surroundings here in Occidental Mindoro, we have Corinne Isbiato. Corinne.
Soldiers of 4th Infantry under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Erwin Glenn Romero, Battalion Commander, clashed with approximately 5 members of Southern Tagalog Regional Party Committee.
The 5 members of TRPC led by alias Maan in Sitio Cabuyao, Barangay Panaytayan, Mansalay Oriental, Mindoro on March 14, 2025 clashed with the 4th Infantry Battalion that lasted for 15 minutes, resulting in the death of one member of the terrorist group and the confiscation of high-caliber weapons, one rifle with magazine, one improvised explosive device IED, backpacks, bandoliers, and various subversive documents. Lieutenant Colonel Romero once again called on the remaining members of the terrorist group to return to the government to achieve true peace and prosperity with their families. He also urged the public to immediately inform authorities if they see any wounded NPA members so that they can be given immediate treatment and undergo the proper rehabilitation process. Soldiers are continuing to conduct cleaning operations to ensure security in the area and prevent any threat to the remaining members of the group. Corinne B. Isbiato reporting from Luminous Frontline.
Thank you, Corinne. Let's move on the raging updates about sports. We have Marvin Sampson. Marvin?
Kristaps Porzingis scored 21 points in his return from an 8-game illness absence. Peyton Pritchard set an NBA record to spark Boston over host Brooklyn with a game score of 115 over 113 on Saturday.
NBA scoring leader Shai Gilgeous-Alexander struck for a game-high 48 points to lead Oklahoma City in a 113 over 107 victory at Detroit. In Brooklyn, Latvian center Porzingis was not at full strength at the start but found his form as the game continued. Pritchard sank his 219 three-pointer of the season in the fourth quarter,
giving him the NBA season record for three-pointers by a bench player. In all, he made 7 of 11 shots, 5 of 8 from three-point range, sunk 3 free throws in the final 8.2 seconds to secure the Celtics' 13th victory in 16 games. That's all for the Blazing Sports. I am Marvin Sampson from Luminous Frontline.
Thank you, Marvin. Enlighten us with information. We have Lorraine Mangampo.
More than 400 rabies cases were logged in 2024, with a half caused from saliva of infected domestic pets, the DOH Department of Health said Monday.
The DOH said that because rabies has a 100% fatality, all 426 cases last year resulted in death. Aside from domestic pets, 56% of rabies cases contracted the virus from animals whose vaccine status could not be verified. Central Luzon, Calabarzon, and Soxcargen were the region with the most cases. From the 235 cases during the pandemic in 2020, the number of cases doubled in 2024. From the year 2020, rabies is passed on from animal to humans through bites or licks to an open wound, the eyes, nose, and mouth. Symptoms of an infection typically manifest 2 to 3 months following exposure, but it is also possible for an individual to show symptoms ranging from a few weeks to 1 year. The DOH appealed to the public to ensure that their pets are vaccinated against rabies on a yearly basis. Vaccines are available in local governments and veterinary clinics, giving you information that will brighten your mind. This is Lorraine Joy Ordaz Mangapo from Luminous Frontline.
You just heard the latest news.
We will see you again same time, same station.
Be informed,
Inspired
and enlightened. This is Luminous Frontline, your window to the truth.